Welcome back if you've been with us all afternoon. If not, if you're just joining us, good afternoon and welcome to the final day of the 2002 Cheltenham Festival. We've enjoyed a fantastic Cheltenham Gold Cup, best mate winning that under Jim Cullity. More about that and how the earlier Triumph Earl went, the Fox Hunters and also the Stayers. But now coming up, we've got three races coming up for you, and this next race that we're going to show you live at 4:30 used to be the big race, the Grand Annual. It's the 130th year of the Cheltenham Grand Annual Chase, and there are 4 non-runners in this. Their numbers: 1 Lady Cricket, 7 In Antique, 18 Sandy Duff, and 20 Donadino. And that means Tony McCoy switches to Exit Swinger in this. Then at 5:05 we've got the Cathcart, 1 non-runner in this, over 2 miles and 5, that's Knife Edge, and we round off with one of the most competitive races of the whole day, and that is the Vincent O'Brien County Hurdle. It's a real good handicap. Number 21 Hitchhiker does not run, but everything else does, and it could be interesting, this. Runners approaching the start for the 4:30.
Well, for various reasons, Derek, 1 or 2 jockeys haven't got the trip over the 3 days, and it is a pretty tough 3 days, isn't it? Let's update you with the jockey changes. Tony McCoy rides number 2 Exit Swinger in the 4:30 with Lady Cricket being withdrawn, and Dean Gallagher takes over on number 17 Francis Bay, and in the Vincent O'Brien the 5:40 number 11 Timmy Murphy on Ben Bias, and Jimmy Mansell, the young Irish conditional, on Joe Cullard. He claims £5.
It's a bitterly cold afternoon. It's certainly getting colder now as the temperature drops alarmingly, but the runners at the start for a £39,000 to the winner. Those are the 4 non-runners that I gave you. And the interesting point is, of course, that Tony McCoy switches from Lady Cricket, who just got made here yesterday. And the interesting point, by the way, 1 jockey overweight, Richard Guest, £3 over at 10.8, is that Tony McCoy now switches to Exit Swinger. But because Lady Cricket was left in, it means that Exit Swinger is the top weight with only 11 stone. So that does compress the handicap. Let's get the runners and riders from Simon Hope.
And they're going to be headed now by Exit Swinger with a top weight of 11 stone. Tony McCoy on the 9-2 favourite. Red Arc and Richard Guest at 14-1. Kilolta Storm at 12-1. Ruby Walsh. Carl Llewellyn on Eskley Brook at 15-2. Wave Rock Blinkered. Mick Fitzgerald at 12-1. Logician and Barry Canary at 16-1. Fadjidel de Cochet, David Casey in the saddle at 8-1. At 9-1 Asador and Timmy Murphy. Damus at 16's Rupert Wackley. Hot Shots also 16-1 Jim Cullity. Dark and Sharp, who moved well to post, 7-1 Richard Johnson. Barbara Boy at 33-1 Brian Crowley. Bat Swing at 10-1 Norman Williamson. Chiquelo and David Dennis at 40-1. And then Francis Bay, Dean Gallagher now at 12-1. Time of Flight and Paddy Aspel 33-1. And then the bottom pair, Seek the Faith and Tom Doyle at 100-1. And Taking a Grey is also 100-1 Josh Byrne.
Yeah, and although we're missing 4 runners here, still plenty of them taking part for this first prize of £39,000 and get into this stage of the festival. And quite a few of these jockeys riding still without a winner to their names, and you think, oh well, am I going to get one or not? 3 races left to go. David Casey's had some fancied mounts today, none of them particularly given much of a flash. Foxchapel King ran well for a long way in the Gold Cup, and he also rode Hyderabad in the first, and Boss Doyle, but he's got a chance on this fella for Dudal Ducochet. He's a smashing looking horse. He travels well, and he comes in here in arguably the best form of his life. There's number 6, Wave Rock. Well, if you fancied Exit Swinger, which you could easily do because of some of his form, he's got good form on this course, then you've got to fancy Wave Rock. He's beaten him on a couple of occasions. With 3 races left to go, there's still plenty of time for the leading jockey at the meeting to be altered. Charlie Swan leading that at the moment with 2 wins, but it's going to be another fast one. Simon O'Torpus.
And Exit Swinger the favourite, 4-1 on the off. with Logician over on the inside, going to rise first. There's Asador racing quickly as well. He and Fagidal de Cochet in similar colours, but Fagidal de Cochet in a noseband, black and white hoops. At the second, Logician and Asador really tanking along here. Taking is completely run off its legs at the back of the field. And now they run towards the next two plain fences. Logician with Red Art now prominent, and Hot Shots, and after these out wide is Asador, Galolta Storm, and then Exit Swinger towards the inside under Tony McCoy, still searching for this first winner of this year's festival. Only 3 races left to do it. He has got some good rides. They clear the next, Taking and Seek the Faith struggling at the back. Estley Brook is also towards the rear with Francis Bay. Passing the stands, Logician by 5 or 6 lengths to Red Arc and Asador. Then Galolta Storm on the outside of Hot Shots with Fagidal de Cochet and Chiquelo, and then Davis and Exit Swinger. Bat Swing on the inside next from Wave Rock and Dark and Sharp, and then a couple of lengths to Time of Flight. Estley Brook out the back with Francis Bay. Also Taking and Seek the Faith is struggling in the rear as they clear the next plain fence and now continue on towards the water. Barbara Boy is also well out the back. Logician then jumps it big and well, clears it in tremendous fashion from Asador and Red Arc and Fagidal de Cochet. Wave Rock in the red jacket, in the pink Chiquelo, both coming into the frame. Damus is making a bit of ground as they clear this next open ditch. Barbara Boy a bit skew whip at it in an orange jacket at the plain fence. Logician got in a bit close this time from Asador, then Red Arc and Galolta Storm in the blue and white stripes. Fagidal de Cochet on the outside, still very handy, going well. Wave Rock poking into frame with Chiquelo. Dark and Sharp in the blue and green colours, just not far behind the leading group as they clear that open ditch on the outside of Hot Shots. And then in behind these is Estley Brook trying to pick up. Time of Flight in a pink jacket. Bat Swing in white sleeves is close enough as well as they take this next plain fence. The leaders sail over it. Barbara Boy very nearly came to grief there. Francis Bay is well out the back as they reach the highest point of the course. They've got 4 fences left to jump, and it's still Logician and Barracaneri from Asador on the inside of Fagidal de Cochet, and then Red Arc. Wave Rock with a chance out wider as they clear this one, and they land safely, and still Logician with the advantage. They start down the hill with 3 left to jump, and down the hill they gallop. Exit Swinger is on the left now. Tony McCoy had to pull off the rail in the dark green jacket, trying to get closer. Obviously got a bit of work to do, but there's still time as they run to the final turn. Time of Flight hit the deck there, nose diving 3 out. They head towards the final turn. Logician chased by Fagidal de Cochet in the noseband. Asador on the inside. Dark and Sharp, the blue and green. Then Wave Rock, Red Arc, Exit Swinger under strong pressure, followed by Chiquelo. Another open race then towards the second last. Dark and Sharp burst through on the inside of Fagidal de Cochet. They're really trapping Fagidal de Cochet and Dark and Sharp. Wave Rock on the outside, Logician giving way, and Exit Swinger is still battling on under the McCoy drive on the outside, staying on very gamely. Fagidal de Cochet rises first at the last from Dark and Sharp. Exit Swinger still with head bowed, running on with great determination. Fagidal de Cochet, McCoy is trying his every sinew on the near side on Exit Swinger, but he's going to be denied again. Fagidal de Cochet is too strong and wins it from Exit Swinger. McCoy's second again, an exasperating week. In third, Dark and Sharp, then Galolta Storm from Logician and Wave Rock and Red Arc, and then Bat Swing and Estley Brook, followed home by Chiquelo and then Barbara Boy, and they were the only finishers. Seek the Faith pulled up, so did Francis Bay, Damus and Hot Shots as well. Fagidal de Cochet is the winner of the Grand Annual Chase in the hands of David Casey in the colours of Sir Tony O'Reilly, trained by Arthur Moore, another Irish trained winner at the festival. But jumping the last Exit Swinger looked a big danger. Tony McCoy had been hard at work on the favourite from as far out as 3 out. But Exit Swinger began to run going to the final fence and stayed on bravely, but it wasn't quite enough to catch this fella. Fagidal de Cochet.
And
is ridiculous. Yeah, 6-1, clear second favourite, that Fadouchel de Cochet, whatever the wretched thing's called. 6-1 its return, the second best. Wins by 3/4 of a length and 3 lengths, 3/4 of a length and 3 lengths. The runner-up Exit Swinger sent off the 4-1 favourite for McCoy, still without a winner at the festival. Would you believe that at the start on Tuesday? The third, Dark and Sharp, is a 13-2 chance, and the fourth, Logician for Ian Balding, sent off at 20-1. But 6-1, clear second best. Our morning line guest, David Casey, this morning. Once again, we had terrific morning line guests. We had Richard Johnson, of course, yesterday. He won the big race on Flagship of Morales. David Casey today, justifying his presence on Channel 4. At least he's a winner who comes on that channel. Return 6-1, second best.
Well done, David Casey. Thrilled for him. Came in as a guest on the morning line today, and he thought this one had a chance, but I think he probably fancied some of the others. But look at this old fella, got his ears pricked, and not many Irish trained horses have been able to come here and win handicaps. Dark and Sharp, he just missed out the second last, just lost his momentum on the far side. That's Richard Johnson just coming in out of picture on your left. The eventual second will be Exit Swinger. They've gone for a bit of a touch on that one, but this fella's been up to it. Jumped, galloped and travelled all the way through, and as Exit Swinger got into bits of trouble along the way, didn't jump nearly as well as the Irish horse, and that took its toll in the end. And David Casey broke a couple of bones in his hand just about 6 weeks ago. Hasn't been back riding long, but he's been having a good time. Nearly 40 winners in Ireland this year, and this one just the icing on the cake for him. Really strong lad. He spent quite a bit of time over here, brought over by Oliver Sherwood to ride, and based in England for a bit. And there you go. No doubt about how much that win meant to him. In the sauna at 7 o'clock here this morning, and just the 10 stone to carry. He's a big lad to be doing 10 stone. I said to him, do you want to come off for a cup of tea after the morning line? He said no, back in the sauna again. So well done to him. Well done for Tony O'Reilly too. Started riding for him via Mouse Morris, who trains Fox Chapel King for him.
This is marvellous, this for David Casey. I thought he was great this morning. And what about Arthur Moore? He has had 5 festival winners over the years. He does so well, does Arthur. He won the 1993 Cathcart with second schedule. Do you remember the Queen Mother in 1981 with Drumgore and 96 with Clarence Davis? Won the Arkle with the Brockshire. That takes you back 20 years ago. Clarence Davis in 95. And now in 2002. He's done it with the Grand Annual. I tell you what, this horse given a super ride. He's a typical Arthur Moore horse, isn't he? Franks, when you look at this, and Mike Catamel, typical Arthur Moore type horse. He's going to get a great big cheer here. In the colours of Tony O'Reilly, the former boss of Hines, one of the richest men in Ireland. And this is going to get a big roar, even though it is bitterly cold, and it's almost as if it's beginning to snow. Cat, this guy is good, isn't he, David Casey? Just come back. Tony O'Reilly on the right, his wife Chrissy on the left.
David Guinness did mention him with you this morning on the programme, didn't he? And
yeah.
Fox Chapel King, of course, carried the same colours, didn't quite sparkle in the big one earlier on. But I'm just thinking, AP McCoy, you know, there's still a chance for him to wrest something out of this disastrous week before. He's had 5 seconds.
Hang on, listen to this. It's lovely. Greatest feeling. We've only got 2 more races to go.
And if AP wins them both, he wins the title, because he's had 5 seconds.
Surely not. Really?
Crazy, isn't it?
So even though at this stage, that's
he's got
5
seconds, Tom.
It's incredible. So Tony McCoy wins the last 2 races. He will become the champion jockey of the Cheltenham Festival. At this moment, he is 0. Charlie Swan is the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak. 2 wins as Tony and Chris O'Reilly greet their winner, and well-trained Arthur Moore, and an outstanding riding performance by David Casey.
Let's give you the tote returns on the Grand Annual. The win for Fadou Daoudou Cochet, £6.80. His place dividend was £1.70. Exit Swinger, £2.10. Dark and Sharp, £1.90. And Logician, £3.90. The Exacta paid £43.10.
Well, David Casey came and joined us on the morning line this morning, and I thought it was very fitting that his best bet was Bano Bay. Didn't tip any of his own, but he obviously gave this one a good mensch. It's always worth watching the morning line. Now that's a picture that will be up on some famous mantelpieces for the next few years. Tony used to play rugby for Ireland. I wonder how this compares. Boss of Hines, Chrissy, his wife, well, Chrissy Calandris. He's fed many horses. Oh, yes. David, let's have a... David, can I catch up? I tell you what, he's not easy to catch up, this guy. I tell you what, that was good.
Yeah, super. Arthur said he fancied him a lot before the race.
Yeah.
He travelled so well and he jumped absolutely superbly. Got a bit close to winner, but jumped super.
You went a good gallop as well.
Good gallop, and I was actually only afraid of getting there too soon.
Yeah.
And I was hanging on to him too much at the second last where he got a bit close, but from there on he's just doing enough in front. He was never going to be denied. So
That young fella, AP McCoy, came at you on the running.
he did, but he's won enough. So
Do you know it's him when he's coming at you?
well, I heard the commentator saying it was AP, so
Could you hear the commentary?
I could hear it. So I said I better get one back over on my old landlord. So I'm sure he won't be too disappointed. That's my first. So
Well written, well
thank
done.
you. Thanks.
Yes, well done, David Casey. Nobody will begrudge him this first festival winner. And you could see from the look on his face as he passed the winning post just how much it meant to him. All those times when you have a fall and break something, he's had his fair share, had more than his fair share of injuries. And all the times you think, God, is it worth it? Well, moments like these it is. And Timmy Murphy, another one just getting on the scales to go out to ride David's lad in the next race. He's another one who's had plenty of injuries along the way, and maybe this one will be the one to get him off the festival mark.
Well, for those of you just coming back from work or school or college or whatever, welcome aboard. We've had a fascinating afternoon's action here, dramatic afternoon's action, and it all started way back at 2 o'clock with the JCB Triumph Hurdle. The packed crowd of over 50,000 people cheering the runners as they lined up. Simon Holt calls them home.
They're still a long way from home here in this JCB Triumph Hurdle, and it's Gallardi that shows the way. Live the Dream now driven along by Tom Scudamore. Riyadh close, Sudblur on the inside, looking for the favourite. Giacomo's got a lot to do at the moment, a long way off the pace. Gallardi leads them down the hill with a host of challengers. Riyadh, Vol Solitaire, Sudblur on the inside. Behind them, Turtleback still going well. Out wide is Quasar with the white face. Newhall, red and white jacket on the extreme left. This is 3 out there coming to it was 2 out there, and in front Gallardi on the inside. Giacomo's pulling up. Giacomo the favourite out of the race. Lord Joshua has been pulled up as well, running for the final turn. It's Gallardi in front. They've only got 1 fight to jump. Newhall sent into pursuit. Ireland 1 and 2. Then back in third is Riyadh from Vol Solitaire and Quasar. Sudblur from the rear. Diamond Joshua is picking up well, but Gallardi is sprinting clear, heading for this final fight. Newhall in turn is clear of the others in second place. Hyderabad staying on with Valapour, but at the final fight it's Gallardi put himself right. Newhall lands in second, then Valapour, Hyderabad and Diamond Joshua. But racing into the closing stages is Charlie Swan, Cheltenham's favourite. Gallardi is sprinting right away now, a dozen lengths ahead of Newhall, and Gallardi has turned it into a rout here. Gallardi wins the Triumph Hurdle.
Says Charlie, the 7 times Irish champion. He may only ride in hurdles these days, but he's as popular as ever. And that's one of his easiest wins, I think, at the Cheltenham Festival throughout his illustrious career. There's a trophy presentation. Let's get the SPs and Derek.
They always go for it at Cheltenham, and why not? Number 17, Schollardy, wins under Charlie Swan, the leading jockey at the meeting with 2 races to go. 16 to 1 the winner. 27 Newhall, a fine second, back down to 8-1 in the end. Number 5 Diamond Joshua ran absolutely cracking race, 66-1 for Newmarket trainer John Berry, and fourth number 1 Balapur at 100-1. That's how this year's Triumph, sponsored for the first time by JCB, ended up. All 28 ran, and the two favourites were both pulled up.
Well, a superb performance, ladies and gentlemen, by Fadoudal du Cochet to land the honours in this, the Cheltenham Grand Annual Steeplechase, the Challenge Trophy for which was subscribed for by the town of Cheltenham, and a race which has been contested this afternoon for the 130th time. To make the presentation, we extend a very warm welcome indeed to Councillor Clive Lloyd, the Mayor of Cheltenham, accompanied by the Mayoress and also last year's Mayor, Councillor Daphne Pennell. And to receive the trophy, we're delighted to welcome winning owners. Well done to Sir Anthony and Lady O'Reilly. Well done to you both. Our congratulations, and that trophy go to you. Well done. Well, we also have a trophy for the winning train, ladies and gentlemen. No stranger to the winners' enclosure here at the Cheltenham Festival. Well done to Arthur Moore. Arthur, step forward and receive your trophy. Well done. And our special congratulations to the winning rider, ladies and gentlemen. This is first festival winner. Well done to David Casey.
Races still to come from here at Cheltenham, the Cathcart and the County. But news now from Southall. The 405, it went to number 1 Airmail at 12-1, second number 4 Petrus at 12-1, and third number 14 Aljard at 20-1. Nizza was the 4-1 favourite, 15 round. And at Hexham, the 415, first number 8 Far Echo at 16-1, second number 2 Fiorlino at 9-2, and third number 10 Another Wagon at 40-1. Hayes de Sienne was the 5-2 favourite, 10 round.
What was your bank of the week this week? Was it Barracuda, the star stare from Francois Dumain's stable? He drifted in the market here this afternoon, but nonetheless went off a warm favourite for the stayers under Thierry Dumain.
So they've only got one flight left to take. They're doling off that final flight because Timmy Murphy is still being treated on the landing side following his fall from Sir Talbot. A long way still to go, but only one more to jump, and then there'll be a run-in with a turn at the best part of a half mile. And it's Gier de Cochet and Telimos with Carlavant, and then Splendid. Van Obey just in behind them, the blue jacket. It takes time, bounce back on the inside. Timmy Murphy has got to his feet now, and they're removing the dolls. They're removing the dolls. They're going to jump the last after all. Down towards 2 out, Carlavant, Gier de Cochet, and then Telimos is right there too. Splendid on the inside, Van Obey in behind them. Barracuda is out wide and beginning to close now, and he looks strong as well, does the French horse. As they run towards the final turn, it's Telimos, Van Obey travelling strongly. Also, It Takes Time, then Gier de Cochet, Barracuda just ran into the back of It Takes Time there. They straighten up now. A long run to the
final flight is Telemos, Brian Harding, Van O'Bay, Charlie Swan. He's got lots of horse under him, chased hard by It Takes Time and Barracuda and Thierry Dumain, a horse that stays very, very well. They run to the final flight. Van O'Bay is tackled by Barracuda on the inside. They rise together. Barracuda challenging Van O'Bay. Then It Takes Time back in third. Barracuda on the inside, still going well. Van O'Bay is trying to fight off the front course, but very confidently ridden Barracuda by Thierry Dumain. Now he asks the horse to go and win the race, and win the race he does.
Well, Thierry Dumain has had to put up with a lot of flack from the British press over the last 18 months or so, but you have to say that ride was right from the top drawer. And no wonder he's delighted when he came back in J.P. McManus's colours. Barracuda's still unbeaten, of course, now in Britain, and we're not quite sure how good he is. There's George Ward of Bonus Sprint, who sponsored the race, J.P. in the background, celebrating his third winner of the meeting.
So Barracuda, probably the bet of the whole meeting, wins at 13-8, unbeaten, wins by a neck, given a superb ride by Thierry Dumain. Charlie Swan was a little bit self-critical when he jumped off. He said, perhaps I got there a bit too soon, but you know, you make a split-second decision, you've got to stick to it. Van O'Bay number 1, second at 2-1, and third number 9, It Takes Time at 12-1. All 16 ran in the bonus sprint stayers.
And Tomo, of course, was talking there about Barracuda. Extraordinary other professional opinion went against it in the last few days. Now, and I know Fat Alistair down on Channel 4 really criticised the bookmakers for going odds on the thing, but it's gone and won. So when it wins, you can't blame the bookmakers. And I reckon it was an odds-on chance. In the preview programmes, I was saying if it went odds against, the Sharks would be in for it. They weren't. And it actually touched 7-4, returned 13-8, and a welter of money came from that Van O'Bay from 4-1 into 2-1. But the original opinion was right, and Barracuda is the champion stayer, and a lot of people made him the banker of the meeting, so I managed to get me out of trouble anyway, but I needed some help after some of the previous disasters. But looking now to this Cathcart, 22 favourites in 48 runnings have won the Cathcart over 2 miles, 5 furlongs, and it's the best race for market leaders of the whole festival. Statistically, the best of the lot, nearly 50% of favourites have won it, and they're going bottle the bottom one, the 2-1 favourite, that's Royal Auclair, with 4-1 against David's Lad. It's then 6-1 Bar, that's Run for Paddy, is put in at 6-1 along with Golden Goal, 8-1 Duralan, you can then get 11-1 against Redemption, 11-1 Mr. Percy, and 10-1 St. Piran, and any prices against the rest. But if you go for the statistics, the best backed horse of the race is turning out to be Royal Auclair, and it's the best favourite race at the whole meeting.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come now to the presentation of today's Guinness Festival Award, a prize which honours the individual considered by the panel of judges to have made the most significant contribution during the televised races on Gold Cup Day. And to make the presentation of that award, we'd like to welcome to the winner's enclosure Mr. Don Goulding. Mr. Goulding is the Managing Director of Guinness UDV, and he is accompanied for the presentation by his wife, Pilar. The award is a specially commissioned Stuart Crystal Trophy, and here to receive it following that fine performance of Best Mate in the Tote Gold Cup earlier this afternoon. We'd like to congratulate the winning trainer. Well done to Henrietta Knight. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that you can vote and have your chance to vote for the overall winner of the Guinness Festival Award in a special telephone poll on Channel 4 Racing's Morning Line this coming Saturday. A reminder of the 3 winners: Dean Gallagher for his ride aboard All Noir in the Smurfit Champion Hurdle on Tuesday, Philip Hobbs, the trainer of Champion Chaser Flagship Uberalis, and of course today's winner, Henrietta Knight, the trainer of Best Mate.
Many great achievements in the last 3 days. Henrietta Knight has never lost faith in Best Mate. It'll be interesting to see who comes out best of that trio. Philip Hobbs. Great training performance as well with Flagship of Borealis. Cast Iron, the winner at Southall, the 440 at 25-1. Second, number 7, Mystic Venture at 5-1. And third, 15, Tancred Miss at 11-2. Sparklet, the 11-4 favourite. The non-runner number 6 and 15 ran.
News of best mate, by the way, if you're wondering whether he's going to race again this season, don't forget there are 1 or 2 targets he could go for, perhaps the Martel Cup at Aintree or something like that. But having spoken to Henrietta Knight right after the celebrations in the winner's enclosure, her reply was it was most unlikely that he'd run again this season.
So now we come to the 505, the Cathcart Challenge Cup, named after the first ever chairman of Cheltenham Racecourse over 100 years ago, and did so much to put this great festival on the map. It's the second last race of this year's festival. Number 1, Knife Edge, does not run in this, and that means that if Tony McCoy is to become the leading jockey, he's got to win this. If he doesn't win this, it looks as if it's going to Charlie Swan.
Yeah, well, he's certainly got a chance, and his mount here, Royal Auclair, comes into the category of quite a few winners here over the duration of the festival, and in as much as he's been lightly raced this time round, 3 runs and 2 wins following an unlucky fall first time out. There's the colours of Craighouse, Ruby Walsh, 33 to 1 shot this one, and he's been running well enough in handicaps, but hasn't beaten anything of too much consequence. Tim Bearer beat him last time round here the other day. This is David's lad. Now he's got a chance because he ran well the other day behind another one of these horses, and that was after a long layoff. That was a particularly good run there. Tony Martin just had a bit of a cough in the yard, but finished behind Arctic Copper, and the form of that race has actually worked out well, because the last winner, Faduda du Cochet, split both Arctic Copper and David's lad. Golden goal there in the winning line colours. Norman Williamson, he's given him 2 wonderful rides the last twice I've seen him. Once at Kempton, once at Sandown. Good jumper, travels well, he's improving. The stripe colours there, Jorlan. He's a front runner. He's done the job nicely. He jumps well and he gallops well, but he's got to improve if he's going to take a hand in the finish here. The form of his last race hasn't worked out particularly well, but he is a good jumper. That's Redemption. Spoke to Andrew Thornton on the way in this afternoon. He thought this one had half a squeak. It is an open race, but he's got 1 or 2 bits of form. He was 3rd at Ascot earlier on this season behind Wahiba Sands and Get Real. If he reproduced that form round here, he wouldn't be without a squeak, but he's run here twice without showing too much. Number 8, Dream of Nurmi, Warren Marston. He's been on the go for a fair while. He's now with Sue Smith, and he's another one who needs to improve. He ran fairly well behind his stable companion time and time again the other day. That was in a hurdle race. There's one with a chance. Mr. Percy likes the course, runs well here, looks particularly well, and Josh's horse is, well, he was so unlucky to lose Rubel on the opening day, and Silver Streak didn't exactly do too much yesterday, and it'd just be nice if this fella could go and do something. Lots of ability, but I'm not sure that he doesn't keep a fair bit for himself, but he wouldn't be without a chance. Mick Fitzgerald looking for his first winner at this meeting. There's one that's got to have a chance. Run for Paddy. He loves this course. He's had 2 runs over fences, and looks as though he's taken to them like a duck to water. Good hurdle race for me here behind It Takes Time and Janus du Cochet. So got plenty going for him. This fella, that's a silly price, 10 to 1. He's got blinkers on for the first time today, this horse. He's crying out for them. The last time he ran, I backed him at Newbury, finished 2nd to Reitziger, came on and off the bridle, and he'd do for me. I think if one's going to give Royal Auclair a run for his money, it would be this fella. Particularly nice looking horse. Seymour Business has run well for the stable. And there's the horse. That was no, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's Royal Auclair. But we were talking about Tony McCoy's mate. He's won his last 2 races, lightly raced this time around, and the form has worked out not too bad from the time before. It's interesting, St. Piran was trying to give him over a stone last time. Meets him on much better terms this afternoon.
And with the toughest man at Cheltenham now, because this man doesn't need a coat. Oh dear, Tony Martin.
The adrenaline is flowing, so at this stage we don't.
It's keeping you warm. Now, what about David's lad here, second favourite? I mean, he's got winning form. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's been a good horse. He's progressed with age, like only 8-year-old. He won the national last year. Unfortunately, we put him by for the English national this year, and things went wrong there. And
what went wrong?
The autumn. Just horses became unhealthy. The majority of my horses, and he fell victim of it as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's on the way back. He's beginning to, you can see him really pick up in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So just might be a fortnight too soon today, but he's definitely on the way back. But he's fit enough and well enough to run, and I just hope he's not gutted in. The ground is dried out looking enough. It shouldn't gut him once he's not knocked around, and he'll benefit from the race, but it'd be great if he's good enough.
And if he does run well here, what's the next stop?
Oh, if he runs well, it's all systems go for the national.
Yeah.
Like if he's, runs within 10-12 lengths of the first couple, Royal Auclair is very well in. It'll be a great run.
Yeah. So we're watching this with interest.
Well, if he runs well, I'd be very happy.
We'll watch with interest. And if he wins, you'll be even
all the
warmer.
better, all the better. The pressure will be on there.
Good night, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, gave a good ride to I.O. Bordick yesterday. Still one of the best amateur riders going round. But let's have a look and see if we can find Barry Gerrit's Mount Arctic Copper. I was waffling away talking about Tony McCoy earlier when I should have been talking about Arctic Copper. And there he is. As I was saying, his form actually has worked out particularly well with that last winner coming out of the race. But David's lad, as Tony Martin was saying, he'll be, although I hear what he's saying, I still think that he wouldn't have brought him all this way if he didn't think that he was absolutely in with a major chance. He thinks he's a fortnight short, but I don't know. Will he have improved enough to reverse the placings with this fella, or will St. Piran, now he's got a pair of blinkers on, improve? We'll find out. St. Piran took the nod in the paddock. Joralan on the way to the post. That wasn't surprising. It's good moving horse. And Royal Auclair down in the betting ring. David's lad and Golden Goal were both negatives.
Still possible to get 9-4 this Royal Auclair, but generally it's a bottle, the 2-1 favourite. Davis now was on the slide out to 5-1. It's into 9-2. With Run for Paddy at 6-1 and Golden Goal at 15-2. Juralan is an 8-1 chance. Some support for Redemption into 9-1 and 10-1 St. Piran with 11-1 Mr. Percy. But if you fancy that Davis lad, Ireland have won this 8 times in over 2 miles 5 furlongs. It's on the shoulders 9-2. But as the trainer seemed to say, the Nationals the race for this. It's not today.
Wouldn't be totally sure about that. Timmy Murphy gets on so well with David's lad. In fact, just watching Timmy ride this horse, it's a bit of a joy. She drops him out. He's at the front at the moment, he's leading him in.
No. Not even on the course yet.
Quite a long and trying week for Simon Morant, I think.
Come on!
Temper seems to be fading as they head towards the first fence. Royal Auclair, Tony McCoy on the favourite on the near side in the noseband. So he jumps first, jumps it well. A bad mistake there by Redemption, and one has gone. It looked like Arctic Copper. Arctic Copper is unseated at the first. And it's Royal Auclair, Juralan, and Jim Cullity on the outside, then David's lad, and Mr. Percy in the beige jacket. And then in the headgear, St. Piran, red and white, Golden Goal on the inside, Run for Paddy, Redemption, Craig House, and Dream of Nurmi as last, as they clear fence number 3 in this Cathcart Challenge Cup. And Barry Gerrit on his feet after the fall from Arctic Copper. Making the bottom turn, the loose horse chasing Royal Auclair now, with Juralan looked terribly well going to post and moved fluently as well. Then Mr. Percy, David's lad in the noseband under Timmy Murphy, and St. Piran as they straighten up a line of 4 fences. And it's Royal Auclair, a little tight to that fence, but cleared it well enough. And Juralan on the outside, then Mr. Percy and St. Piran and David's lad, Golden Goal on the extreme right, yellow and white colours, the inside. Then Run for Paddy, Redemption in red towards the back, Craig House, and finally Dream of Nurmi. on towards fences 6 and 7. And Royal Auclair, who's looked highly promising so far over fences, jumped well again from Durolan, and then St Piran and Mr Percy on the inside. David's Lad, Rumford Paddy. Leader shortens up going to the next, still lands by about 5 lengths to Durolan in second. Durolan, Jim Cullity, having probably the greatest day of his professional life. Then in third, St Piran and Mr Percy, Rumford Paddy wide of Redemption and David's Lad and Golden Goal, and then Craig House and Dream of Nurmi. So they enter the back straight, downhill run to the next, and Tony McCoy riding positively here on the favourite Royal Auclair. From Durolan in second, Mr Percy on the inside, and then St Piran, David's Lad getting plenty of cover under Timmy Murphy. Close-up look at the champion jockey on the favourite. Do a lot of punters some good here if Royal Auclair can hold on to this lead right to the winning post. St Piran's in second place now, blinkered for the first time as they head towards the next. Royal Auclair jumps it neatly again. St Piran over in second, then Mr Percy, Durolan, David's Lad on the outside, Dream of Nurmi pulling up in the background. As they take the next plane one, McCoy sees a stride, gets a great jump from Royal Auclair, lands clear of St Piran as they round this next left-hander. And now a big fence to come, big open ditch. St Piran in second place. Let's see how Royal Auclair takes this awkward fence. Jumps it well again. It's been an exhibition round so far. St Piran still in second. Then David's Lad and Golden Goal of Mr Percy, Craig House on the inside, followed by Redemption. At the next plane fence, Royal Auclair still galloping on strongly, and the others are going to have to find something. Durolan has pulled up before that fence, had been prominent. Durolan out of the race. So they've got 4 left to jump, and it's Royal Auclair that starts downhill to the 4th last with a useful lead still, having made all the running so far. Rush through the top of it. St Piran in second. David's Lad, though, is still going well, stays strongly and has got a turn of foot. Craig House is 4th, then Golden Goal and Mr Percy as they run down the hill to the 3rd last. Can McCoy hold on at last? It's Royal Auclair that continues to lead, over 3 out, just a slight nod on landing. David's Lad and St Piran are 2nd and 3rd. Craig House is moving forward. Redemption pulls up. Golden Goal's under pressure. So they run round the final turn then, and it's Royal Auclair under the champion jockey. David's Lad, Timmy Murphy, hasn't yet gone for his mount in second place. He's got a good 6 or 8 legs to make up on this leader, though. Craig House is 3rd next on the inside from Golden Goal. 2 fences left to jump then, and it's Royal Auclair still sailing away. Lands safely. David's Lad and Craig House both for Ireland, trying to close in 2nd and 3rd. And now McCoy goes for his whip, the first sign of distress on Royal Auclair, and Craig House closing on, and so is David's Lad at the final fence. Royal Auclair rather overjumps. Craig House looks at danger in second place. It's Royal Auclair from Craig House. Ruby Walsh a length and a half down. What will the horse find? Royal Auclair is pulling out more now from McCoy, and it looks like he's going to get a winner at last, and Royal Auclair is going to hold on to win the Cathcart. Tony McCoy at long last gets his first festival winner this year. Craig House in second, didn't find that much on the run-in. David's Lad in 3rd. Then came Golden Goal, Mr Percy and St Piran. Well, maybe Tony McCoy at long last will break into a smile. It's been a pretty frustrating 2.5 days so far. Of course, the tragedy that occurred in the champion hurdle with Valirimix, who looked all over a winner, and a lot of second places as well. But at long last, the champion jockey has found a winner, Royal Auclair. And you know what, if he wins the last on Polar Red, believe it or not, he may end up the leading jockey at the meeting.
There was an even louder cheer down here for Royal Auclair than there was for the Gold Cup winner, Best Mate. Listen to the crowd now. Listen to them. They really do love Tony McCoy. Wins by 1.5 lengths and 7 lengths, and returned the bottle, the 2-to-1 favourite. And listen to them, they're applauding the man here, not the horse. Listen to this. That was applause for the great jockey Tony McCoy, the man he is, the drama, the heartbreak he's been through this week, especially with Valirimix, of course, who died in the champion hurdle when sure to win it. And here he comes back, his first winner at the festival, and the crowd absolutely revel in it. And of course, a dreadful result for the bookmakers. Punters still, of course, remain loyal to Tony McCoy, return the bottle, the 2-to-1 favourite. And McCoy on the bottom weight is not very often that isn't backed. The runner-up, though, Craig House, double carpet, 33-to-1 for McCoy's nemesis at times, Ruby Walsh. And for a split second over the last, it was feared apparent that Ruby Walsh could come and do Tony McCoy again. And on the double carpet chance, that would really have rocked the champion. And the third David's lad, as Tony Martin said, a Grand National trial for him, goes round in his own time, returned the 5-to-1 clear second favourite. Great race of favourites, a 23rd favourite in 49 runnings over 2 mile 5 furlongs to win. But this is Tony McCoy won, not Royal Auclair, Tony McCoy.
Well, I don't know. I think the horse has done most of the work. He's run and galloped round here 2 miles in ground, 2 miles 5 rather, in ground that's fairly testing. And interestingly, a small field, just 11 runners. He was allowed to dominate. So many of the races here at the festival were large fields, and it's difficult to actually make any impression on the race. St. Piran getting plenty of weight from Royal Auclair compared to when they met at Exeter. He's travelled well for a long time, but still not good enough. Old David's lad, Tony Martin, will be thrilled with the way he's run. And Golden Goal comes in here off the back of some useful runs. But it's Ruby Walsh who's sitting. Old Craig House, he's a bit of a character, there's no doubt about that. But Ruby's just waited and waited. Probably got 4 or 5 lengths over them as they turn into the straight. And Royal Auclair, the one thing he does, even when he gets in close as he did there, he's got a very quick style of jumping, doesn't lose too much momentum. He's given a good crack round the backside at that point when Tony McCoy can just finish, can just sense him getting a little bit tired. Well, we wanted to break in there, just hear the applause. But this old horse, he looked as though he's getting a bit tired, but as you've seen so often in the past, once one of Martin Pipe's horses begin to get a bit tired, look at that, gets his back end up and still keeps himself going forward and galloping. And Ruby Walsh, he's gone to go either side of this horse, just trying to kid Craig House into galloping forward, but Royal Auclair was having none of it. And he's put in a real brave show this afternoon. Jumped and galloped, his 3rd win on the bounce. And just when he had every right to be getting tired, and well, probably was tired, but he wasn't giving in. Neither was the man on board. and it just makes the last race even more exciting. Apart from a £60,000 bonus, he'll be taking the leading rider's title to go with it after 2 days and 5/7 of an afternoon of frustration. All could still come good yet. Really just keeps himself going, this horse. Got a nice way of galloping, gets his head down, and as I said, also got a good style of jumping. Good close-up of Tony McCoy there, keeps squeezing and pushing along. And for Martin Pipe, his 3rd success at this meeting. And he was 1 in front of Nicky Henderson at the start of the festival. Nicky's had 1 winner. Got a big chance in the last, mind you. Mick Fitzgerald still to ride a winner at this meeting, so he won't be giving up either. But they'll be looking for a bonus, courtesy of the horse in the last Polar Red.
The tape returns now on this Cathcart Challenge Cup. Royal Auclair, the winner, paid £2.90, places 170, 670 and £2. Exacta £153.20. Hexham result, the 450, first number 3, Harry Hooley, 6-4 favourite. Second number 5, Mr. Christie at 4-1. And third number 7, Cake of the North at 13-2. Non-runner number 10, 9 round.
Tell you what is interesting, and Cheltenham do it very well. If you just come and have a look at this, this is one of the big folders that they send round, and these are all the winners, so it means that we can find out how many winners. Now, this big lump here, Martin Pipe's 25 successes before this week. He has now 28 with 3 winners. And what is interesting, that's his 4th Cathcart. Chatham in 91, Challenger to Luck in 96, Cypher Malta in 98, and now 2002. He's got this. It is a great big thick, so we've got to find out exactly where it does. But that's 4 marks to Martin Pipe. And as Cat was telling us earlier, Tony McCoy, Cat can still become champion jockey.
I reckon he probably will, you know. It's a strange old business, the jumping game, isn't it, Derek? Well, earlier on this afternoon, Tony, of course, was on Shooting Light. He had a choice of that one or Cypher Malta in the Gold Cup. Let's take a check now of Simon Holt calling them home. It was a tremendous finish.
Comanche Court and Florida Pearl are still right there, and Marlborough is beginning to get into the race as well. They run towards the 4th last then, back to this tricky fence. Looks like trouble, and Seymour Business as they take it. They're in the air together. Best Mate over in 3rd, still coasting along for Jim Cullity. Then Fox Chattel King and Comanche Court. Florida Pearl on the outside, followed by Lord Nurley, Marlborough, Sackville, Moscow Express and Alexander Banquet. This is the 3rd last fence in the Tate Cheltenham Gold Cup, and old Seymour Business, the winner in 99, took it first, but Best Mate looks a big threat on the inside. Looks like trouble in Comanche Court, still there with every chance, and they are clear of Fox Chapel King and Marlborough. Running round the final turn, Seymour Business challenged now by Comanche Court, a pastime hurdle winner at this meeting. Cullity begins to nudge away on Best Mate. They've got 2 fences left to jump in, and Comanche Court takes over, going to 2 out. Comanche Court rises first, dives at it. Seymour Business, Best Mate over on the inside. They've got 1 fence left to jump now, and it's Best Mate who takes over narrowly to Comanche Court. Here's the final fence. Best Mate, he lands ahead. 2 lengths to the good over Comanche Court. Then in 3rd is Seymour Business, and they climb up the Cheltenham Hill. It's Best Mate, the horse who promised so much. Comanche Court is fighting back in 2nd place, but Best Mate is as good as they thought he was, and he wins the Gold Cup.
There's Henrietta. She watched every fence this afternoon. No hiding away today. That'll probably change her attitude about watching live races. Jim Lewis on the left there, a very, very proud owner. And, of course, Jim Cullity, who'd had every faith in his partner, Best Mate. And I wonder how many more Gold Cups these two will be featuring in over the next 2 or 3 years. Many more, we hope. Terry Biddlecombe, of course, who always rated the horse as Gold Cup material. There's Jim. So he's now won a champion chase with Edgerton Bleu, and the Gold Cup, of course, with Best Mate. There's Jim picking up the trophy. He won't forget that in a hurry, will he?
Lovely, lovely picture. smallest trophy of the week, but the most important. Best mate the winner, 7-1. Comanche Court, what a fine race he ran in second, 25-1, just what Ruby Walsh told us, great each-way chance. And what about the old horse, Seymour Business? Didn't he run a cracker at 40-1? Looks like Trouble was the favourite, 9-2. He was pulled up on the run-in. He finished sore. They're going to take him home and obviously debate what the future holds for him. He doesn't know anybody anything, and they're obviously going to have a look at the legs, but he was obviously feeding those legs all the way around. And also Shooting Light, he pulled up sore and lame as well. And there are no real hard luck stories at all. And Florida Pearl, disappointing. All 18 ran in this year's Cheltenham Gold Cup.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Royal Auclair making every yard of the running under AP McCoy to win the Cathcart Challenge Cup steeplechase, and it's a great pleasure to welcome into the winner's enclosure Christopher Spence, the senior steward of the Jockey Club, who's joined us to present, first of all, the Challenge Cup, given in memory of the first chairman of the steeplechase company at Cheltenham. Ladies and gentlemen, we congratulate, first of all, the winning owner of Royal Auclair, Mr. Clive D. Smith. Father Jack has also joined Clive on the winner's rostrum to collect this beautiful trophy, and Janet as well. And here to collect his memento as the winning trainer, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Martin Pipe. And riding the one we've all been waiting for this week, ladies and gentlemen, will you congratulate winning jockey, AP McCoy.
Well, it hasn't cheered him up much, has it? But I expect somewhere inside he's delighted. Be more pleased if he can win the last, but let's just go back and have a look at Royal Auclair and Tony McCoy. And we've said it so many times before, the reason he wins so many races is he gets horses jumping fences quickly, really positive on them. Over on the far side, 5 fences when it's really important to just keep them in a good rhythm, and he does more than that. He gets them into a rhythm that's going forward, gaining momentum at every fence. The first down the far side, then the water, followed by the ditch. As I look through his legs to see how far he is in front of the others. But lovely horse, this carries himself nicely and just continues to be just making use of the horse's stamina the whole way around. So important when you get horses like this that they're not being bustled along. He's been able to choose his own rhythm, so to speak. Don't know whether he's chosen to talk to Tom or not, but he's down there with him.
Of course he chooses to talk to Tom. Now, was there a smile there? Now, come on.
You know, obviously I'm pleased that I had a winner, and you know, it's great. Obviously it'd be desperate to come here, but as I said to everyone else, it's not going to make the week better, and it's not going to bring Valirimix back, so
I know. Passing the post there, I would have sworn it was about an hour and a half early, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. What was that reception like when you came back?
I suppose when you ride a lot of winners, the punters put faith in you, and they've probably been putting faith in me all week, and I haven't been producing, so I think they were probably as pleased as I was. I think having followed me as long as they have, that I had a winner, probably for their benefit as much as for my own.
Is it difficult? I know you're in the spotlight. People follow you, take photos of you day in, day out. Is it difficult, say on Tuesday, when it was obviously very hard? Can you talk to anybody, or just have to go home and grin and bear it, or what?
I was in bed at 9 o'clock on Tuesday night, and I probably didn't sleep till 1 o'clock. But I was in bed, and you know, you're better off being on your own. At least that way, people won't tell you to cheer up if you don't want to.
I know. I told Ted Walsh, we just sitting having a coffee at the birthday. He said, "Well, could be your dad. Just wanted to talk to you, just have a little chat about it."
Yeah, no, Ted did come in, and you know, I suppose when you put things in perspective. There's a lot of people in the world that are not very well, but you know, but as I say, it's just one of them things, and I say if you go and be on your own, at least that way people won't be getting on top of you telling you to cheer up, you know.
I know. Now, one more race to come. You can still be the champ if you win this last race.
Yeah, he's got a chance. He had a hard race at Sandown the other day. Yeah. If he was to run to his Sandown form again, he'd have a big chance. There's the likes of Timber King and Rooster Buster and Copeland. You know, they've got good solid handicap hurdle form all season, and they'll be difficult to beat.
How difficult is it knowing the horse had a hard race just 5 days ago and trying to conserve that little bit for the finish?
I'll ride in the same way. Sort of
with you?
8th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah. Try and go the shortest way in and get him jumping and travelling, and be challenging on the last, and hopefully be good enough from there.
I'll let you concentrate on the last. Well done here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the latest news from Southwell, we've just lost that. It looked like sun-dried tomato was the winner at Southwell. I'll be worried now if you did back sun-dried tomato, whether that was correct or not. Yes, good old sun-dried tomato does the business at 10-1. Second, number 3, Katie O'Hara, 11-10 favourite, and third, number 1 for Only Mo at 12-1. Non-runner number 4, 10 rand.
Well, this is the race where Polar Red could get a £60,000 bonus, because that's what Sunderland, who sponsor the Imperial Cup, put up before Saturday's race. Now, I was saying, can he come out just 5 days later and win? Because if you remember on Saturday, it was desperately, desperately close.
But Polar Red looks a formidable threat as they run over the second last there. Impact lands in front, it might be soon enough. Polar Red is now asked to go get the leader. Then through the rise, Scots Grey back in fourth, and Munker Hostin running towards the final flight. Impact narrowly to Polar Red. Impact met it just about spot on. Polar Red a half length down on landing, and McCoy gets serious. Now they meet the rising ground. It's Impact, but Polar Red is beginning to get up over on the inside. A desperate struggle up the hill. Polar Red and Impact. Polar Red the favourite from Impact, and Polar Red just gets there.
And that's McCoy at his absolutely brilliant best, beating Jim Cullity. That's not easy. And Polar Red, do you see what I'm trying to say is that was just 5 days ago. Here he is now coming out in another ultra competitive handicap hurdle. He's got 11 stone on his back, so he's got his fair share of weight, and he's going in the Vincent O'Brien County Handicap hurdle, which has a first prize of £33,000. It's ultra competitive, and there's some good horses, including his stable companion Copeland, who was second last time out behind a horse called Hall La Loire. Whatever happened to Hall La Loire? That is absolutely rock solid form. So this is what's at stake here, and Martin Pipe has the chode. Doesn't he look well, this horse? Tell you what, you wouldn't think he'd had a hard race just on Saturday. He's striding out, he's walking out well, he looks well. The signs are good.
Certainly did have a hard race on Saturday, Tom, and no doubt about that. Punters saw that, and bookmakers saying, well, if they want to take this short price about Polar Red, who opened 6-4, is now going out to 7-4, let punters take it. Of course, the money's been fueled by that win for Royal Auclair, the 2-1 favourite for McCoy. Punters would love him to win here on Polar Red, but the price is absolutely absurd. When you think of all the 7-4 chances who run all year, is this as good as any of them? Well, that is preposterous to think of it. So bookmakers saying, well, we haven't had a good day today. If they want to take this short price, well, we'll go and lay them. So 7-4 is the price against Polar Red, who's drifting here on the course, despite the money for it. Best backed horse turning out to be this number 5, Timber King, who was 8-1 this morning, opened 7th on the course, is now the 5-1 chance for Christy Roach, trying to give Ireland a win in this race. And bar those, you can get 9-1 bar. The top one, Copeland, Rooster Booster's in at 9-1, and it's also 9-1 against Dark Shell, and 10-1 Joe Cullen, and 12-1 against the Gatherer. But the first run in 1913, 14 favourites and 73 runnings have won it. If they want to take 7-4 Polar Red, let them take it. It's been rubbed off a few boards, but it's still shoulder 7-4.
Well, anybody who's been worrying about whether this horse can come out and run to the level which he did at Sandown on Saturday can take courage in the fact that Martin Pipe's done this double on quite a few occasions before. Well, he's done it twice, but he's had horses run well, very close together, from Sandown to here, plenty of times. And this little fella, well, to me, I know the ground wasn't very good at Sandown, but he travelled well for a long way, and I just felt that he had a little bit left in the tank at the end. As Matt was saying, not taking any chances with his price 7 to 4, and he's pretty well exposed. And I don't actually feel that he's of the stamp of blowing wind. He's more an Olympian type horse, maybe not even quite as robust as him, but there's no doubt he's got lots of ability, and he's halfway, well, he's more than halfway if you consider the fact that he stayed healthy from Saturday to this afternoon, to pulling off the £60,000 bonus. But plenty of other runners in here with chances, and Copeland, as Tony McCoy was just saying, he's been remarkably consistent, this fella. And you look back through his form, what did he finish second to last time out, having taken a Tote Gold trophy? It was the champion hurdler all the while. Can't get better form than that, but he is giving plenty of weight away this afternoon. Horse that's chased him home a couple of times at Newbury and also here. Prior to that run is Rooster Booster. He's been such a good servant. I was asking Philip Hobbs about schooling him over fences when we were down there prior to this meeting, and he said that he wouldn't even want to sit on him at home schooling. He said he's not the best jumper in the world, but maybe we'll see him over the larger obstacles before too long. Sometimes horses don't school well at home, but are much better off on the course. There's the grey, O'Taylor. Been having plenty of goes round so far this season. He's still plenty high enough up the handicap, a 33 to 1 shot. I know Jim McGrath thought that he'd have a little bit of a chance here, but when I spoke to Martin Pipe about him, he felt that he was still plenty high enough in the weight and still wants things to go his way a little bit. Lots of money for this horse, Charlie Swan. A couple of winners already. He's in the lead for the jockey's title for the meeting. Saw Christy Roach in Ireland, and I said, right, what's your bet for charity for the festival? Had no hesitation in naming this horse. He said the different type of thing to Like a Butterfly and Banner Bay. He was expecting him to be a really big price. Well, he's either had his money and I is going to be disappointed, but he's a fairly decent type. Arthur Moore, fresh from a victory with Fideldo de Couche. He runs the Gatherer here. Another horse who's certainly doesn't owe anybody anything. He's been a really good servant and still only 8 years old. He's a horse who likes to bowl along at the head of affairs. Ben Ure, I was saying earlier, quite a few of these horses that have been winning have had little racing throughout this season. Well, this fella, Ben Ure, he's only just had the one run, and as much as I'd like to back him, I think what he's shown so far, he's going to struggle to be involved at the end of this race. This is a more interesting contender. Dark Shelley was a Group 1 runner on the flat over 1.5 miles. He's had 3 runs round sharp tracks which wouldn't have suited him, once on ground that wouldn't have suited him, and once when he looked fairly useful. Mick Fitzgerald's got down to 10 stone 4 to ride in this afternoon, put up just a few pounds overweight, 3 pounds overweight him. Getting out stakes, there's Fiore. Tom Doyle rode his first treble of his career yesterday and had a really good season, Tom. Not without a chance here on Fiore. He's a good traveller in his races, normally a good jumper, and I know that he's a fancy of Alistair Down. Here's Ben that's Tikram. Dean Gallagher got visors on for the first time this afternoon. This horse, he's been running well in top handicaps, likes to travel fairly close to the pace. If the blinkers make a difference to him, he's just one of quite a number who could run down into that dip and face the hill to the finish with a chance. That's 11, Ben Bias, another one. He's had a wonderful season, this horse, really good. He was a good winner here. That was his last run, that was in December, and he had Tikran behind him on that occasion. Ground's fairly similar today, and since then he's done nothing wrong at all. He was third to Copeland. That was a really good run. He's held his form well, and Les here, and his owners must be thrilled with him. A real bonny little horse. Still making their way out onto the course. And Philip Hobbs, he runs 2 here. We've already seen Rooster Booster. And we're looking now for the colours. There he is, Norman Williamson, rides just in time. Another one that comes into the lightly raced category. And certainly he's not without a chance either on the pick of his form. He was third the other day at... Sorry, that wasn't the horse. That was this is the horse that ran at Worcester, hasn't run for some time. This is Joe Cullen. He's won the bumper here a few years ago now.
Jimmy Mansell, John, he's a good little claimer. I saw him riding it
really?
Downpatrick last week.
Yeah, haven't seen him ride before, but he's certainly got a decent mount in Joe Cullen. They'd have been buoyed by the earlier success of Scalado in the opener. And it's thrown up quite a few surprises already, the festival, but this is one nice surprise. Good to see Liam Cooper riding for Martin Pipe. Had a couple of rides for him already here so far. Been taken with him. This fella, just the one run where he was pulled up, a little bit disappointing.
Stablemate Tisifer and David Howard, the £7 claimer, has been booked to ride him. Both of his wins so far have been pretty soft ground. He quite lightly raced, open to a bit of improvement, but he was beaten a long, long way when trying a new trip at Warwick last time. He dropped back to 2 miles off the Sukin. He's a lively outsider at 40 to 1, John.
Well, there's loads of these in with chances. Noel Feely, who's attached to Charlie Mann's stable, moving on up, 25 to 1 shot, and fairly well weighted on what he's done so far. Nice little horse who invariably travels well through his races, but they will go a tremendous clip here this afternoon.
Number 16, just going to process. 17, Idaho Docks, another one trained by Martin Pike. Geoff Hewitt rides this, the £5 claimer. What's he been up to, Idaho Docks? Well, he's won a couple of races so far this season on ground varying from good to firm to soft, and a stiff finish at both tracks too, which at Exeter and Sandown, which will suit him today, but he was beaten a long way out last time out at Sandown.
Yeah, there's Ansari. He's been improving slowly throughout this season. It's quite difficult overall for Irish horses to come and win these handicaps here, but this horse has been going the right way. He ran behind Like a Butterfly on the opening afternoon. Couldn't have expected to have been involved at the end of that race, but prior to that he'd run all right. Maybe just wants softer ground than he's going to get this afternoon.
Patsy Veal, ridden by David Casey, who's recorded his first victory at the festival this afternoon. Not a horse that we in Britain know much about. He did run here at the Thomas Pink Festival, though, when he was well beaten behind See You Sometime. Tailed off that day. Clearly something in this.
Look for Viridian, the yellow and blue sash. There he is, Marcus Foley. He's been had a wonderful season. Won the big handicap, one of the big handicaps at Sandown on Saturday, getting a ride for Brian Llewellyn here. Old Viridian, 9 years of age now, still looks well, but it's been a little while since we saw him run right up to his best.
Bit of news from Hexham on the 5.25. First number 6 was a drive at 7 to 1. Second number 5, Nicholas Plant at 14 to 1. And third number 4, the Eanes, 9 to 4 favourite, 9 rand.
And the last one that we haven't seen, another 100 to 1 shot. Dr. Philip Pritchard having a run round on 5th generation. looks well enough, but he's not the eye catcher. Dark Shell just gets the nod in that department. The favourite, Polar Red, he'd never win a best turned out prize, but he's got a big heart and lots of ability. But we've gone for Dark Shell. He got the nod from Simon, got the nod down in the ring as well with Timber King, and Alistair's money for Fiore, negative Polar Red.
I say a negative Polar Red. There's huge sums from a £40,000 bet and a £20,000 bet have gone in for Polar Red, but Bruntmacher is really standing up against it. It did touch 9-4, is now a 15-8 and 7-4 chance. Very strong support indeed for Timber King. It was 8-1 this morning, halved in odds. It's now 4-1 Timber King, 8-1 bar the 2. The climax of the meeting for the punters here is Polar Red, a terrible price. Bookmakers will play heavily if he wins.
He'll get a big shout if McCoy can bring home Polar Red in front. He's got a £60,000 bonus up for grabs as well. We can add this to the Imperial Cup. They're over the first, 5th generation on the near side. Ben Bias, always a front runner, the white sleeves. Over on the inner is Tikram and then Fiore, with Copeland close up on the far side. They're the leading 5. And then just in time from in the dark blue, Timber King, the Gatherer, and Ansari in the noseband. Dark Shell covered up in a black and yellow diamond jacket. Polar Red towards the outside. Strike colours of Sir Stanley Clark in the headgear, about halfway down the pack. Joe Cullen's on the inside, then Rooster Booster, a Grey and Irana and Idaho Docs as they clear flight number 2. In the rear at the moment, Tisifer, with Ben Ewer and Patsy Veal, and moving on up, and Viridian is last. Irana also towards the back. They're going a great gallop here in this closing race of the 2002 Cheltenham Festival, and it's 5th generation from Ben Bias and Tikram and Fiore and Copeland. They're the front 5, and they're 6 or 7 lengths clear of the others. Can they possibly keep up this pace? Just in time is in 6th, and then the Gatherer, followed by Ansari and Polar Red and Dark Shell and Joe Cullen, and then Timber King on the inside. Then a brace of greys, Altala and Rooster Booster from Idaho Docs, a gap to Iorana, Ben Ewer, Tisifer, and then Patsy Veal out the back as they fly over the next flight of hurdles, moving on up, and Viridian are the back pair. Along the back straight, and there's no let up at all, and it's Ben Bias and Tikram from Copeland in 3rd, Fiore is 4th, then the Gatherer and a noseband Fiddled It, followed by Ansari and Polar Red, who's getting a little bit closer from Rooster Booster, as there is Polar Red on the outside. McCoy and the Stripes as they clear the next. Tikram didn't get very high there, and it's Ben Bias from Tikram and Copeland 2nd and 3rd. Then Fiore. Polar Red went off the 2-1 favourite here. The Gatherer is close up on the inside, then Polar Red, Ansari, Rooster Booster and Joe Cullen. They turn left-handed. Polar Red has only Idaho Docs on his outside as they run towards the next flight of hurdles. This is 3 out, a long way from the finish though. Ben Bias from Copeland, Idaho Docs, Polar Red, a good jump there, almost landed alongside the leaders. They're followed by the Gatherer, Ansari, and then Rooster Booster. Ben Ewer and Joe Cullen have both improved. Tikram's fading just in time after these from Patsyville. Timber King just getting a bit held up by some traffic there, having to come round Tikram as Tikram faded as they reach the top of the hill. 2 left to jump then, and it's Ben Bias from Copeland, but Polar Red gets some mention from the course commentator, and there was a big cheer. The Gatherer on the inside, then Idaho Docs and Rooster Booster and Joe Cullen on the inside, and Timber King, watch out for him in the dark blue, Charlie Swan. Dark Shell is also picking up in the black and yellow diamonds as they range down towards the second last. A wide open race here. Ben Bias picks up first with Polar Red, then Copeland between horses. The Gatherer up the inside, full of running at the moment there in the noseband. Then Rooster Booster, the grey, often the bridesmaid, followed by Joe Cullen and Timber King and Ben Ewer. They straighten up for home. McCoy gets to work on Polar Red, who's outpaced now as the Gatherer quickens to the lead. Then Ben Bias and Rooster Booster, Timber King, Joe Cullen, Ben Ewer down the outside. Heading for the final flight then,
and it could be an Irish victory to send the Irish hunters home happy, because it's the Gatherer, but Rooster Booster is challenging on the inside, then Ben Ewer, the Gatherer, Rooster Booster, fluid on the inside, Rooster Booster and the Gatherer, they race together up the hill from Ben Ewer ducking in third place. It's Rooster Booster, can he win the big handicap at last from the Gatherer and Ben Ewer? Rooster Booster driven out, Richard Johnson from the Gatherer, it's Rooster Booster, he's going to win today. Rooster Booster wins the county hurdle. In second place the Gatherer, then Ben Ewer. They were clear of Ben Bias and Timber King. Then Viridian running home strongly from Patsy Veal, and Joe Cullen are moving on up. Tithiver next, then Dark Shell and Idaho Dots. Polar Red didn't beat that many in the end, but they included Just in Time and stablemates Copeland and Altala. Fiore well out the back, so too was Ansari. Rooster Booster has run so well in many a big handicap hurdle, seconds and thirds, always running close, never quite winning one, but today he's finally landed a big one. Rooster Booster wins the Vincent O'Brien County Handicap Hurdle in the hands of Richard Johnson. A second winner for him at the meeting. Of course, he won the Queen Mother Champion Chase yesterday on flagship Uberalis. A richly deserved win for this horse, trained by Philip Hobbs in the yellow and black colours of Terry Warner. Chased home all the way by the Gatherer, within third place Ben Ewer, and Ben Bias may just have clung on for fourth, but that's tight.
Well, a fabulous finish to the end of this three-day festival, and I'm as pleased for this horse as anything. He's been a bridesmaid so many times, and I've never seen him run less than his best. He loves it round this course, wasn't particularly great at the last, and certainly as they turned for home, it looked as though the Gatherer and Conor O'Dwyer were going to be just having too much left in the tank for them. But this horse, just when you think, well, I don't know just how tough is he, well, he's proved today that there's no problems with his courage. Terry Warner be thrilled with this. He's been such a good horse to him. He might not have won too many races, but God, he's hardly run many bad ones. And galloped right the way up to the line here. Polar Red, he was beaten as they turned for home. And, well, we'll let you know shortly who's going to be leading jockey at the festival. Because...
John, do you know something?
Richard, you're just going to tell me?
Yeah, we think that Richard might have... No, Charlie Swan, we think, may have had one more second.
Well, Richard Johnston, certainly two winners. Charlie Swan has had two winners, but who's had the most placed horses? We'll let you know. Certainly Charlie second on Banno Bay, and
third in the bumper yesterday.
Third in the bumper yesterday. Maybe he's just nodded. It's going to be close.
And this fellow last won at Taunton, a maiden hurdle jump, January of 2000. It's only his second victory of his career. Fully deserved.
Terrific result for the bookmakers, the Rooster Booster, though he's returned the 8-1 clear third favourite. He was 9, 8 and 7 general in the offices this morning. The tote only went 13-2. They knew. Returned, though, the winner 8-1 and pays over 10 and nearly 10.5 to 1 on the tote. The Gatherer's runner-up at 12 to 1. Ben Ewer is third at 50 to 1, with Ben Bias fourth at 12 to 1. They backed Polar Red down to 2 to 1 favourite. A dreadful price that was, with 4 to 1 against Timber King. But the last heat with ferocious betting going on. It's a kind of race that in normal days you would never, in a 20-runner handicap like this, take 2 to 1 and 4 to 1, two horses. They did it here, trying to get out of trouble. The bookmakers have won the last round, very impressively indeed. Though some have been hit a bit by the Rooster Booster. 8 to 1, third best.
Well, it's not over yet as to who is going to become champion jockey at this year's festival, because both Richard Johnson and Charlie Swan have had two winners. They've both had one second, and now it depends on who has ridden the most thirds. And there is a countback going on at this moment in time to decide who is, and obviously it's got to be confirmed, champion jockey at the festival. We are checking this. It's all down. They both had the same winners, both had the same second. Now it's down to the third. So, will Richard Johnson be smiling for England, or will it be Charlie Swan for Ireland? Certainly Richard Johnson's left it late, but it could just be that he's got it. We await confirmation. The countback has begun. It all depends who's ridden more thirds.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well done, Dickie. Champion jockey. Join for the meeting, will it? Well done, Rick. I get a lot of
So a great week as well for trainer Philip Hobbs, of course, having secured the champion chase with Richard Johnson. Rooster Booster's tote return was £11.40, his place £2. The Gatherer paid £3.20, Ben Ewer £19.10, and Ben Bias at £2.40. The Exactor came to £202.90. Non-runners number 21, 21 rand.
Well, we've seen all the races, so well, we're looking back. Let's look back now at the Gold Cup for the amateur riders. This is the Cheltenham Fox Hunters and produced one of the finishes of the week. Look at this.
As they make the top turn, they've got 4 to jump, and it's Joe Blake from Last Option. Toured Up Express trying to rally. Gunnar Welburn on the inside as they run slightly downhill towards this next fence. Joe Blake on the inside of Last Option, then Gunnar Welburn, Toured Up Express, Real Value and County Derry. Down the hill they gallop, on and on. £10 worth has made very good headway on the outside, and then Manila Silver. £10 worth in the maroon sleeves coming there as they jump 3 out. Toured Up Express back alongside Last Option with Joe Blake on the inside, then Gunnar Welburn and £10 worth County Derry. The favourite Porus looks to have a forlorn chance now, who's weakening badly as they run round the final turn, and it's Joe Blake and Last Option. Gunnar Welburn coming there strongly, then Toured Up Express, £10 worth and County Derry. They've got 2 fences left to jump in the Christie's Fox Hunters. Joe Blake over on the inside, Last Option, Gunnar Welburn, Toured Up Express out wide. These 4 are clear of County Derry and £10 worth. It's Last Option just about in front now from Joe Blake, Gunnar Welburn and Toured Up Express, who hasn't given in on the outside. There was precious little to choose there between Last Option and Toured Up Express. Last Option and Fiona Needham, Toured Up Express and Polly Gundry. The girls first here, but Gunnar Welburn is running on with Joe Blake. Last Option is flat out from Gunnar Welburn. Last Option, Gunnar Welburn thrusting on the far side, but Last Option wins it.
That's what it's about. The smile as big as the trophy. That horse was bred by a mum, trained by a dad, and didn't she give it some ride? Fiona Needham and the Tate family. She lives in Newmarket. She's married to a bloodstock agent, but her dad is a farmer high above Thirsk. There he is. He used to be a pretty good rider. In fact, he used to wear those colours. And as they said, if they washed them earlier, they'd probably disintegrate.
Last Option, the winner at 20 to 1. Second was number 6, Gunnar Welburn at 8 to 1. Third, number 21, Toured Up Express at 10 to 1. And the tote win was £32.90. The place is £6.40, £2.50 and £3.10. And the Exactor, £173.60. Non-runner was number 19, 20 rand. So there's the scene. Crowds beginning to head off home now. You can see at the top of the track there, these stands will be. There have been 52,000 people early on this afternoon. They've all got to be a bit patient as they make their way to all parts of the British Isles and Ireland. It's been one of the coldest afternoons we can remember ever at the Cheltenham Festival. Quite a breeze. You can see the Union Jack there. It probably is, John. We're expecting a bit of snow. Remember the Thinker on Land 87?
So it's now confirmed that Richard Johnson is champion jockey. There he goes. I don't know if he knows yet, but we've got it. And the reason being, he has ridden 2/3 as opposed to Charlie Swan's 1/3. I think he's just found out. And he wins the Daily Telegraph award for the leading rider. His lady friend Zara Phillips, his partner, is here in the winner's enclosure. So that'll put an even bigger smile on his face when he comes out to receive his trophy. And considering he spent so many months this season off with that broken leg, he still hobbles a bit when he runs. And he can't believe it. There's Zara, different hat today.
Really tight the results of the last 2 races here then on the final day. Number 9, Fadou Dal de Cochet won the Grand Annual at 6-1. Second, number 2, Exit Swinger, 4-1 favourite. Third, number 13, Dark and Sharp, 13-2. Fourth, number 8, Logician at 20-1. Numbers 1, 7, 18 and 20 didn't run. 18 did. The Cathcart, first number 12, Royal Auclair, 2-1 favourite, Tony McCoy at last. Second number 3, Craig House at 33-1. And third number 4, Davis Ladd, 5-1. The winner was number 1, 11 man. The Vincent O'Brien County Hurdle won by Rooster Booster at 8-1. Second number 6, The Gatherer at 12-1. 7, Ben Ewer third at 50-1. And fourth, number 11, Ben Bias at 12-1. Non-runner was number 21 and 21 ran.
If there was any doubt as to whether bookmakers won over the 3 days, that last race finally clinched it. That Timber King, Freddie Williams has just told me, had a £40,000 bet at 9-2, Timber King. The money was pouring in that Polar Red, so that for bookmakers who were losing, and there weren't many of those, they fired away in that last race and really got out of it. The Royal Auclair was no good for them. Best Mate wasn't too bad, and the big damage could have been done by that Barracuda, with many people's banker for the meeting coming here, but some of the judges really opposed it, out to 30-8. One bookmaker out there said it was friendless, that Barracuda. But remember the earlier big bets of the meeting. This Like a Butterfly started off so well for the Irish. On Wednesday, the best backed horse, Flagship of Morales. The banker for so many Barracuda, not so well backed. But generally, bookmakers have won at the festival. The results have gone for them.
I've just congratulated Richard Johnson on becoming the champion, and what have you just said?
Well, it's the first time anyway in my life.
A.P. McCoy.
Even it's only for 3 days.
Well done, and you only won it because you had one more third than Charlie Swan.
Yeah, considering I had probably 10 more rides over fences than he has had this week. So,
hey, doesn't matter.
No, I've had a great time, and obviously yesterday was fantastic, and this horse win the last is, he deserves a good win. And
well, that is really some double, and congratulations. And the leg is stopped throbbing.
Leg's very, very good. It doesn't make it feel better when you have winners. So
I bet it does.
It's been a great sort of. Well, no, it's not. The season isn't ended yet, but it's obviously a great middle part of the season.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Richard Johnson finishing in style. We'll be back on the morning line on Saturday morning. What have we got? Lingfield and Newcastle on Saturday. Do join us, but for now, from the Cheltenham Festival 2002. Good night.